The cold Pinot Grigio hit my face like a slap. It soaked through my shirt, dripped onto the pristine white tablecloth. 20 relatives sat frozen, forks suspended halfway to their mouths, a tableau of shock. "You're being selfish, Edward," my daughter-in-law Cassandra shrieked, her manicured finger jabbing inches from my nose. "Michael deserves what's his." Then my own son, Michael, stood up, his chair scraping against the polished floor. "She's right, Dad. You're impossible to work with. Always controlling, never listening." This was Easter dinner. In my dining room, my family, my son, supporting his wife after she'd just humiliated me in front of everyone I loved. The wine burned my eyes, but not as much as the betrayal. I'd spent 40 years building sterling hardware supply from nothing, working 18-hour days so Michael could inherit something meaningful. I'd given them everything they'd asked for: credit cards, house payments, even my grandmother's antique locket. I'm Edward Sterling, and I thought I was building a legacy for my son. Instead, I'd been feeding a monster. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. Children stared, wide-eyed. Adults looked away, embarrassed. My brother Thomas, his mouth agape in disbelief. But as that wine dripped down my face, something clicked. They'd made one fatal mistake. Every dollar they'd stolen left a paper trail. Every signature I'd given them was evidence. Every lie they'd told was about to become their legal nightmare. 3 days later, Michael would learn that blood doesn't guarantee inheritance, but documentation guarantees consequences. My name is Edward Sterling, and I'm 64 years old. I've been in the hardware supply business my entire adult life. Every morning at 5 a.m. sharp, my boots hit the warehouse floor. Rain or shine, sick or healthy. Christmas morning, Easter Sunday, it didn't matter. I started Sterling Hardware Supply in 1984, with a used pickup truck and $800. My first warehouse was a rented garage behind Murphy's Auto Shop. I slept on a cot in the corner to save money on rent. The concrete floor was so cold in winter that I'd wake up with my breath visible in the air. Those early years, I ate peanut butter sandwiches for lunch every single day. I couldn't afford anything else. Every penny went back into inventory. Tools, fasteners, lumber, anything contractors might need. I memorized every catalog, learned every specification, built relationships one handshake at a time. My first big break came in 1987. Morrison Construction needed emergency supplies for a hospital project. Their regular supplier had failed them. I drove through a snowstorm at midnight to deliver what they needed. That contract was worth $50,000. That first $50,000 order changed everything. I hired my first employee, bought a real delivery truck, moved into an actual warehouse with heating. But I kept sleeping there anyway. Old habits die hard when you've been hungry. Michael was 7 when he first visited the warehouse. His mother would drop him off after school. Sometimes he'd sit on stacks of plywood, swinging his little legs, asking endless questions about everything. "Dad, why are these nails different sizes? What's this tool for? Can I help you count inventory?" I taught him everything: how to read invoices, how to calculate markup, how to treat customers with respect even when they're wrong. I thought I was raising my successor. I thought I was building something we'd share. Michael was smart, really smart. He understood the business instinctively. By 12, he could identify tool parts faster than my employees. By 16, he was handling customer calls. I was so proud. "Someday this will all be yours," I told him. Sterling and Son has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? His eyes lit up every time I said that. I worked 18-hour days building that dream. I missed school plays, soccer games, family dinners, but it was worth it. Everything I sacrificed was an investment in Michael's future. I was creating something permanent, something meaningful, a legacy. When Michael graduated from college with a business degree, I thought my planning had paid off. I thought I'd raised a man who understood the value of hard work and loyalty. I thought I was building something eternal. By 2010, Sterling Hardware Supply had 3 locations. We were the largest independent supplier in the county. Our client list included every major contractor within 50 miles. I'd built something substantial. Michael joined the company officially after graduation. I made him vice president immediately, put his name on business cards, gave him his own office, started introducing him as my successor. The pride in his voice when he said Sterling Hardware Supply made everything worthwhile. We worked side by side for 5 years. Michael handled the younger contractors while I maintained relationships with the old-timers. He was good with computers, modernized our inventory system, streamlined our ordering process. I thought we made a perfect team. I started planning my retirement. Not full retirement. I'd probably never stop working entirely, but I wanted to step back, let Michael take the lead, travel with his mother, maybe buy a small cabin upstate. The business was worth almost $3 million. Michael would inherit everything: the warehouse, the inventory, the client relationships I'd spent decades building. He'd never have to worry about money, never have to sleep on a warehouse floor or eat peanut butter sandwiches. I thought I was building something eternal, something that would carry the Sterling name for generations. I pictured Michael's children learning the business the same way he had, a true family empire. That dream felt so real, I could taste it. Michael met Cassandra in 2012. She was working at a marketing firm downtown. Beautiful, ambitious, expensive taste. Their wedding cost me $42,000. I paid for everything without complaint. Venue, catering, her dress, the honeymoon in Italy. Michael was my only child. I wanted him to be happy. "Dad, you don't have to pay for all this," Michael said. But his relief was obvious. "Of course I do," I replied. "This is what fathers do." Cassandra had very specific ideas about their lifestyle. She wanted a house in Maple Heights, the expensive suburb. The down payment was $60,000. Michael asked if the company could loan them the money. "Just temporarily," he said. "We'll pay it back through my salary." I signed the check without hesitation. Family comes first. Then came the credit cards. Business credit cards with Michael's name for company expenses. Cassandra needed a reliable car, a luxury sedan. Naturally, Michael explained she'd be representing the company at social events. Image matters in business. "Dad, you taught me that." Every signature I gave them felt like an investment in our family's future. Cassandra joined us for family dinners, full of ideas about modernizing the business. She suggested we needed better marketing, a social media presence, younger customers. Some of her ideas weren't bad, actually, but she had a way of making me feel old-fashioned, outdated, like I didn't understand the modern world. In 2014, Michael asked for access to the main business accounts for convenience, he said. "So I can handle vendor payments when you're not around." It made sense. I wasn't getting any younger, and Michael was handling more responsibility every day. I signed the power of attorney papers without reading them carefully. 3 days after that Easter dinner, I sat across from forensic accountant Janet Murphy in her downtown office. She had been analyzing my financial records all weekend, following the digital trail Michael had left behind. "Edward, this is worse than we discussed," she said, spreading documents across her conference table. "The systematic nature of this theft shows clear criminal intent. She'd found patterns I'd missed: vendor kickbacks, fake employee payrolls, equipment sales to dummy companies. Michael had been operating a criminal enterprise inside my legitimate business. 89,000 in direct theft," Janet continued. "But if we include the inflated contracts, fake expenses, and vendor fraud, we're looking at over $150,000. The number hit me like ice water. Michael hadn't just stolen money. He'd been systematically destroying everything I'd built. The computer logs show he was accessing accounts at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., transferring money to personal accounts while you were sleeping. This wasn't opportunistic theft. This was planned, methodical embezzlement." Janet pointed to a stack of printed emails. "He's been selling your customer information to competitors. Client lists, pricing strategies, vendor relationships, everything you spent decades building." She pulled out one final document. "And Edward, the insurance fraud is solid. Michael filed false workers' compensation claims, fake injury reports, phantom medical expenses. This alone carries serious felony charges. The evidence was overwhelming, undeniable, criminal." "What's our next step?" I asked. "We file police reports today. Full criminal investigation. Then we protect your remaining assets and dissolve the partnership before he can steal anything else." Janet had found something I'd missed: something that made everything personal. Tuesday afternoon, I met with my business attorney, David Walsh, at his law firm downtown. Janet had briefed him on the financial evidence. Now we needed to discuss legal options. The partnership dissolution is straightforward, David explained. Given the documented criminal activity, you can dissolve immediately and exclude Michael from any future business operations. He pulled out the original partnership agreement. This clause here, Section 4, allows immediate termination for criminal conduct. Michael's own signature authorized these consequences 15 years ago. The irony was perfect. Michael had signed his own legal destruction years before he started stealing. What about the business assets? I asked. You retain full ownership. The business name, customer relationships, inventory, everything. Michael loses all claims to partnership benefits the moment criminal charges are filed. David showed me the asset protection strategy. We'll transfer all legitimate business operations to a new corporation, Sterling Solutions. Clean slate, same customers, same employees. Michael will have no legal connection to the new entity. The legal framework was beautiful in its simplicity. Michael's crimes would trigger his own exclusion from everything he thought he'd inherit. How long will this take? I asked. Criminal charges can be filed today. Business dissolution by Friday. Asset transfer by next Monday. Michael will wake up next week unemployed and facing felony charges. The law was on my side. Michael's own criminal behavior had constructed the legal mechanism for his destruction. One more thing, David said. We should file the papers simultaneously. Don't give him warning to hide assets or destroy evidence. Wednesday evening, I returned to the warehouse after closing time. The building was empty, silent, except for the hum of fluorescent lights. I needed to check something Janet had mentioned. The security camera system Michael thought I'd forgotten about. The cameras had been recording everything for 2 years. Every late-night visit, every unauthorized access, every theft Michael thought was invisible. Digital evidence he didn't know existed. I spent hours reviewing footage on the security computer. There was Michael at 2:15 a.m., transferring cash from the safe to his personal briefcase. Michael at 11:30 p.m., photocopying client contracts for his personal files. Michael meeting with strangers in our parking lot, handing over business documents for cash payments. The cameras never lie. One video showed Michael and Danny Morrison loading company equipment into Michael's personal truck. Expensive pipe-cutting tools, testing equipment, inventory worth thousands. They were laughing, joking about the old man's stuff. Another showed Michael accessing my personal office computer, downloading files to a flash drive, customer databases, pricing formulas, vendor contracts, everything a competitor would pay serious money to acquire. The most damaging footage showed Michael staging his fake back injury. One camera caught him practicing his injured walk before the workers' compensation inspector arrived. Another showed him playing basketball with friends hours after filing disability claims. Every crime documented, every theft recorded, every lie preserved in digital format. Michael had been so confident, so arrogant. He'd never considered that the old-fashioned security system was building an unbreakable case against him. Thursday morning brought the insurance investigator's report. Janet had forwarded Michael's workers' compensation file to the fraud division 3 days earlier. Their response was swift and decisive. Mr. Sterling, your son's injury claims are completely fabricated. Investigator Patricia Chen explained over the phone. We have video evidence of him engaging in physical activities while claiming total disability. The insurance company had conducted their own surveillance, confirming my security footage. The fraud division was preparing felony charges against Michael for insurance fraud. The potential prison sentence was significant. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was about criminal accountability. The following Monday, Michael called me from the police station. His voice was raw, desperate. Dad, what's going on? The police are here. They're saying I'm being arrested for embezzlement and fraud. It's a misunderstanding. Dad, you know that, right? The manipulative tone, the feigned innocence, it was all still there. There's no misunderstanding, Michael, I said, my voice steady. The evidence is overwhelming. You made your choices. He went silent for a moment, then his voice hardened. Cassandra will help me, Dad. She knows everything. She'll tell them you're just trying to cut me out. Cassandra won't be helping you. I replied. She's facing charges herself. Accessory to fraud, possibly more. I heard a gasp on the other end. Then a dial tone. He'd hung up. He knew I wasn't bluffing. Later that week, I received a call from Amanda, Cassandra's sister. She was distraught. "Edward, I have something you need to see." Cassandra found it in Michael's safe deposit box. She left it with me before she disappeared. Amanda met me at a neutral coffee shop, her hands trembling as she slid a worn envelope across the table. Cassandra said Michael was planning to leave her after he got everything. She said he called her his useful temporary partner. Inside the envelope was a letter, written in Michael's unmistakable handwriting, dated 3 months before his wedding to Cassandra. It outlined a systematic plan to destroy my credibility, steal my customer base, and force me out of my own business. The cruelest part, Amanda continued, was that he was planning to divorce Cassandra after inheriting everything. He called her his useful temporary partner and said she was too expensive long-term. Michael had manipulated Cassandra just as completely as he'd manipulated me. She was another victim of his sociopathic planning, though she'd never know it. The letter detailed everything: the public humiliation strategy, the financial manipulation, the long-term plan to eliminate both Cassandra and me once he controlled the business assets. Even his wife had been expendable in Michael's master plan. Reading Michael's letter was like staring into an emotional black hole. My son hadn't just stolen money, he'd systematically planned to destroy everyone who loved him. Cassandra, me, even his own children were just obstacles to be removed once they'd served their purpose. The wine-throwing incident at Easter hadn't been spontaneous anger. It had been a calculated performance designed to justify his theft and create public sympathy for his position. Every argument, every criticism of my controlling behavior, every complaint about family pressure, all scripted manipulation. But instead of devastation, I felt something unexpected: relief. For 3 years, I'd carried guilt about prosecuting my own son, doubt about whether family relationships should supersede legal consequences, shame about the public nature of our destruction. Amanda's revelation eliminated all of that emotional burden. Michael wasn't a good person who'd made bad choices. He was a criminal who'd targeted his own family as victims. The difference was crucial for my peace of mind. I'd spent 40 years building something meaningful, something that would support people's families and contribute to the community. Michael had spent 4 years systematically trying to steal and destroy all of it. My choice to prosecute him hadn't been family betrayal. It had been community protection. The guilt disappeared, replaced by satisfaction that I'd stopped a sociopath before he could complete his plan. Every legal action I'd taken had been justified. Every consequence Michael faced had been earned through his own documented choices. I kept Amanda's letter, but didn't need to reread it. The truth was finally complete, and it set me free from any remaining doubt about my decisions. 5 years have passed since that wine-soaked Easter dinner. Sterling Solutions employs 12 people, serves over 300 customers, and operates with the integrity I'd always intended. I'm 70 now, officially semi-retired, but still arriving at the warehouse most mornings by 6 a.m. Old habits die hard when they're good habits. Tommy Rodriguez runs daily operations with the competence and character Michael never possessed. Maria Santos has expanded our customer base through genuine relationships built on trust and reliability. Peter Kowalski's inventory management is so efficient, we've reduced costs while improving service quality. These people earn their positions through years of loyalty and demonstrated competence. They understand that family businesses survive through merit, not bloodline. I never remarried after my wife passed. Never had other children. Michael was my only heir, and he chose to be my criminal instead. But the loneliness I'd feared never materialized. The business family I'd built over 4 decades provided all the connection and purpose I needed. Employees who genuinely cared about the company's success created better relationships than family members who saw it only as a source of unearned wealth. Some evenings I still think about the 40 years I spent building something for Michael to inherit, but the sadness is gone, replaced by pride in what we've built without him. The Sterling name means integrity again, not because of genetic connection, but because of demonstrated character under pressure. Michael is scheduled for release from prison next year. I've heard through mutual acquaintances that he plans to rebuild his relationship with me. But Amanda's letter sits in my desk drawer, a permanent reminder of who my son really is beneath the charming manipulation. The letter said just 2 words that revealed everything: temporary partners.